In today's video, we're going to review the Birthday Massacre's new album, Pathways. Stick around to see what we thought. Greetings, spooky people. Welcome to Project Raven. If you're new here, we hope you like the video and consider subscribing. So today we are going to talk about Birthday Massacre's new album, Pathways. As you know, if you're a subscriber to the channel, Birthday Massacre is my favorite band. So this is the first time we're doing a album review, and this is like a fitting start to doing album reviews. Birthday Massacre is one of those bands where they're kind of unique in their sound. Nobody else has done a sound like that. It's uniquely Birthday Massacre. You know a Birthday Massacre song when you hear it. They're also unique in that you don't really have songs that you're not going to like on their albums. It's odd for a band not to have something you skip every now and then, or but not with them. Everything is good, and I'm happy to report this new album continues that trend of an amazing work of art. The album Pathways is a little shorter. It's got 8 songs on it. They went for quality over quantity, which is good. So for the albums, I bought them on physical media because I collect CDs and vinyl, and I like to encode the CD for my iPod because that is my preferred way to listen to music when I'm dedicated listening to music, or on the home theater system. That's another way I like to listen to music. Vinyl records, of course, I love that too. Just depends on the vibe that you want. We're going to go over some of the technical sides of the record and that sort of thing later in the video. So if you're a fellow audiophile, stick around for that. But let's talk about the album. So this album, they did tour a couple songs off of it in their 2025 tour, and they're going to start the UK tour at the time of this recording very soon. And then there's a second sub-tour, I guess you could call it, where they're actually going to be the supporting act, which I'm sure they'll play some of these songs. Yeah, they were amazing live. We saw them at Smalls in Hamtramck. And for those of you not from the Michigan, Hamtramck is close to Detroit, so we can just call it Detroit if you want. Amazing. We also got to meet them there, so we did a video on that. So definitely check that out if you're interested in that. Very good. Very kind, nice people to meet and everything. Then we also saw them at Dark Force Festival. They were one of the headliners on the first day. Completely different vibe because there's like a lot more people at the festival than there was at the show in Detroit. Both times were amazing, and we're so happy we got to see them in 2 different settings. It was really cool. But that brings us to the actual album. So I did, like I said, buy it in 2 formats. CD. So got the pretty cover art there, and then of course they did a wonderful job with the graphics and everything. So yeah, I believe Owen does the graphics for them, if I remember correctly, and he's a talented artist, so I'm not surprised it looks beautiful. And everything is still purple. I love that. Being purple's my favorite color, so it's very cool. And then the vinyl record. Of course, got the big, beautiful art because it's vinyl. And then, can you guess what color the record's going to be? It's purple. So, definitely beautiful. Yeah. They did a wonderful job with that. And then, of course, the sleeve has a big picture of the band in front of the hotel. And then the lyrics on the back. It's a very cool piece to have in the collection. Slightly different purple than some of their other vinyl records that came in limited edition purple, but it's definitely purple. So that is the physical discs. So like I said, 8 songs. So I'm going to just briefly go over some of my bullet points of my thoughts of the songs. Definitely give the album a listen, and I recommend listening to it in the order that they created it, because it is a complete work of art and really should be experienced that way, at least the first couple times you listen to it, in my opinion. Let's talk about the first song, Sleep Tonight. Okay, spoiler alert, this is my favorite song on the album. It's becoming one of my top 10 Birthday Massacre songs for sure. It's probably top 5. It's got heavy chugging guitars, it's got crisp imaging in it, great synth sounds, really tight breaks, really cool drum fills, and Chibi's got some, of course, beautiful dynamic vocals in the song. This is how they opened Dark Force Festival and all the other shows that they did, and perfect choice. It'll definitely get you amped up. It's a very cool song, so definitely check that out. Like I said, my favorite song on the album. But there's a bunch of other good ones on here, so let's talk about those. So the second song is called All of You. Again, strong vocals, tight drumming. There's a nice dreamy bridge in there. Wonderful heavy guitar work, of course, but less heavy than Sleep Tonight. So it's a good progression to the album, I think. Good song. All right, so that brings us to song 3, The Vanishing Game. So it starts with some nice keys. Slower song, softer vocals, has kind of a nostalgic feel to it. It's, you know, definitely a Birthday Massacre song. It's very good. I also like this song. So that brings us to song 4, Pathways. This is the title song. Simpler sounding beginning of the song. Good song, but not as unique sounding in my opinion as the previous 3 tracks. Like I said, it's a great song. It works well with the album, but wasn't my favorite. But like I said, not a bad track, just not my favorite. That brings us to number 5, Whisper. Slow song, but nice heavy dark guitar, fun melody, singing style, and some of that growling style that Chibi does that we all love. I've heard her referred to as Snake Voice before, I think, in one of her live streams. Very cool. Very cool to hear that back, and a nice song. That brings us to song number 6, Wish. Strong start with the keys, has a hint of an 80s vibe to it, which makes sense. Get that? Didn't mean to say that. It makes sense because of the synths. It's got the 80s sound to it. I love that. It's very cute, very good. That brings us to the 7th song, Faces. It comes in heavy, but it is a slower song. Great dynamics in Chibi's voice, as always, but she's really, really doing good on the song. Really tight guitar riffs on here, too. Very nice song. The progression of the album, it's perfect for that. So that brings us to the 8th track, the final track, Cruel Love. Slow song, parts have a unique singing style, almost reminiscent of a country song. I know that's a really bizarre thing to say about a Birthday Massacre song, and it's not country in the bad way, but I don't know why, but it gave me that vibe. It's unique, it's very unique. Kind of a dreamy in the clouds feeling overall. You really just have to hear it to understand what I mean by that, but it's cool. So these 8 songs as a collection make up the album Pathways. Works good together, very definitely a Birthday Massacre album. It fits in with their other albums. If you're a collector like I am of their stuff, you need to buy it and have the physical media. Of course, it's streaming on Apple Music and Spotify, but if you do Apple Music, it's in lossless audio if you want. Apparently it's coming to Spotify soon, but I don't know, I don't use it. But yeah, so give it a chance on the streaming services. If you like it, then buy the disc or the vinyl. For those of you who like audiophile things, let's talk about the mastering of these. So what I did is I take the CD and encode it into Apple Music in lossless format, so I can put it on my iPod, 5th gen, which in my opinion has the best sounding DAC in it. For listening when you're out and about, it's nice not to have the distractions of your phone, not get distracted scrolling through an endless Facebook feed or something. Very cool, and it has a nice warm sound from the DAC that's in the 5th gen, 5.5 gen to be technical. Very good. It sounds really good with that. And then I also listened to it on my desktop Mac with external DAC and the classic 99 headphones. Wonderful sonic imaging, great dynamic range. You can definitely pick out where the instruments are if you close your eyes. It's beautifully mastered for the CD. Speaking of mastering, so mastering for CDs versus vinyl is a completely different process. You can't just use the same master because of the dynamic range on vinyl. Some bands get this wrong and they just squish the CD master onto a vinyl record, and it sounds horrible when you do that. There are some examples of that in our community. I'm not going to name names, but they didn't do that. They are always really good and thoughtful about the mastering of their records. It sounds almost as good as a CD. It's, of course, being vinyl, it does have a warmer sound, and depending on the system you're playing it on, of course. It sounds phenomenal on vinyl, so I definitely have it in the rotation of records that I play. Good job. Yeah, absolutely good job on the mastering on both the CD and the vinyl record. Personally, I recommend that you listen to it in a lossless format or on the vinyl, but like I said, it's available on the streaming services too, which is, of course, more convenient, so I get it. Great album, Great live tour this year, great band. And there's another way you can support the band, and this is really cool. They have a Patreon. It's only $5 a month, and you get cool things like unreleased demos and like demos of songs that we know, but they're like a slightly different version because it wasn't finished yet, or they had changed it a little bit before the production version, and songs that never were released. You also get access to the monthly live stream that they do on YouTube, and you can actually ask them questions and chat with them. They're really fun and friendly and an amazing group of people. I am a fangirl. They are my favorite band. But objectively, it is an amazing album, so definitely check it out. So hopefully you like this review. I got a couple more album reviews coming up. One of them Lindsay and I are going to do together. So check that out and subscribe if you're not. Thank you for watching. But now, Raven must fly. See you in the next video.